does not look like there are any further questions. So we would, again, just like to thank everyone for attending today's conference and to appreciate your opportunity for coming to listen to what we have to offer. As I said, both of them will be made available to everyone. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let me back up. So I'm just put in a real quick one here. How did Dell earn the $3 million via Twitter? What they had done is, in that specific example, is Dell had put out a specific Twitter account, and then they started to write posts about their product, and then they offered special coupon codes throughout the series of their posts. So they were specifically able to track where those people got that discount and then where that revenue was driven in from. So a great example of how to translate that maybe for trade show experiences as you build an audience. Come up with a 4-digit code or some sort of saying that people can get via your Twitter feed. And then the instruction is come to Gamescom, one of our events in Cologne, Germany going on this week for the gaming industry. Visit our booth and bring this code with you, and you will receive 10% off on the order you place with us today at our booth. That would be one specific way to track how, and the effectiveness of people coming into your booth. Any other questions here? We'll give everyone just another moment. Oh, here comes one in. As a follow-up to the newbie to social networking, how much time to set up and maintain on average? Ruben?
I would say it depends. I know this sounds kind of a cop-out answer, but it really depends on how many social networks you're trying to manage. Because if you are just because tentatively, what you really want to do is to maintain a consistent conversation with your clients. So I might do, for some people might do, for example, a tweet a day. And some people might do, several tweets a day. I have followed a couple of writers, for example, and they tweet like 20, 30 times a day. But I think that's rather excessive. So it really depends on what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to sell. But I would say in general, you probably need a couple hours a week at minimum. For Evolution Point, for example, we only spend like about 2-3 hours a week at most. We do read tweets that we follow, but as far as generating content and just being a content provider, we do very little of it on the tweet. We do post things like blogs and stuff like that, and usually on a Twitter we will then announce that we just post the blogs in case anyone was interested in reading it, and same goes for our newsletters.
The only thing I'd like to add to that for myself, I probably spend the first 15 minutes of every morning reading my Twitter feed, because it's become a news source for me, where I've chosen to follow certain magazines or certain other writers that I find are very informative about my industry segment. And it's a great way to quickly get up to date on some of the hotter trends or topics for the day. And then I might post 3 or 4 throughout the day, and then some of the tools that Ruben had showcased makes it kind of easy, where you can actually do a whole week's worth of Twittering and then have it go out at a timed interval on a date and or time frequency that you like. I happen to use one called Co-Tweet.
Right. I mean, I think to add to that, too, I think it's important to since you talk about managing social networks, there are many tools out there, and the list that I'm showing right now on the screen are some of them. Co-Tweet is really nice because it allows you to manage multiple accounts and allow multiple people to manage multiple accounts. So that's that's a real plus. So you don't have to do it yourself, so to speak. Some of the other things that I use personally, use Flock as a browser. It's a browser that's based on Mozilla, and what it does allow you, to connect a Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and MySpace account all simultaneously, and so that you can do like a global posting. Let's say, for example, you want to post a tweet to Twitter, you can also automatically also post it to the statuses for LinkedIn, Facebook, and MySpace as well. So there are many, tools out there that makes it a little bit easier for you to manage all those accounts.
Thank you, Ruben. We've actually got a whole bunch of them coming in here in just as we go through this. So let me just move on to the next one, please. As a company who sells different audiences, they have a wholesale audience and then they also have a direct retail audience. What would you suggest? Separate Facebook and Twitter accounts, or could you manage that through one Twitter account?
Let me answer that. Yeah, I would definitely promote different Facebook accounts because you have a much different audience. If you have distributors, I would definitely recommend putting them in a special social network because they are very specific to you and they're trying to help you sell. So their needs are a little bit different. So their information that they need tend to be a little bit more detailed. It's a lot less about advertising. It's more about information dissemination. I had a discussion with one of my clients, and they do they manufacture industrial stud welding, and they claim, well, why do I need a social network? And the simple answer is this: because you have 40 to 50 salespeople that need information, and you need to keep them engaged in a conversation, especially if your sales people are not exclusive to you. If you happen to be in a pharmaceutical industry where a salesperson may be selling a competitor's product, you need to get them to be engaged in the conversation so that they will promote your products effectively as well as consistently. So I would definitely think about the audience again, and create different social communities, and then work with them that way.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. I think this will also be good for you, Ruben. What is the advantage and/or disadvantage of having a corporate presence on social media as opposed to an individual account of an employee of your company, i.e., a sales rep, a marketing manager on the social media?
I think the advantages are quite obvious, because the question has always been, what happens if the person leaves the company, and does all the goodwill go to the person? So obviously you want to keep it within the company, because unless of course the person is the company. Unfortunately, and as you can tell, most social media has always been about one-to-one. It's about person A talking to person B. Which has always been very problematic for companies, because companies is not a person, it's an entity. So what happens to a lot of these social communities, like Facebook, for example, it's like Darren and I was talking about it this morning, is they're trying to make accounts which are more oriented towards companies and away from being a person. So the advantage of having a company is that it relieves the pressure of a single person and promotes the company as an entity, as opposed to promote a person as an entity. Unless, of course, you happen to be someone like Steve Jobs, where it happens to be like cult of personality, where the person is the company, and then that's a whole other different ball of wax.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question is, how does RSS fit in?
RSS is basically short for Real Simple Syndication. Basically what it is a protocol that is two things. Well, I'll put it this way. Two things. One, RSS allow people to link to your content so that the content can be pulled into their website. As someone who's digesting information, it allows you to put everything in one place. So for example, a feed can come from 5 different places and put in a single spot. And when I talk about feed, I'm talking about, not just about links, but, it could be a blog, it could be a Twitter status. So the question is, how does that come to social media? It does, in a sense that it's a simple way of aggregating things together. Now, the tools that I show you right now on the screen, basically that's what it does. It basically aggregates some of these accounts for you and put it in a single place. So that's what RSS does. RSS is just basically a protocol that allows all these accounts to be put into a single website or a single portal for you to either read, digest, or even manage. I hope that answers the question in a simple format.
Okay. Well, if not, please chime back in. One of the next question, one that just came across Twitter that I'll answer real quickly here is, I mentioned about timing tweets. They asked me how can I explain how this works. One of the services that I happen to use, CoTweets, allows you to type out your message, but then pick a time and date that message will then be transmitted. So that way, you can set it. You can write one, set it for Monday, write a second one, set it for Tuesday, write a third one, set it for Wednesday. So that way, you don't have to do it every single day. You can do it as kind of a once a week of a routine, or as it matches up against marketing routines and a bigger program management. You may not want your certain marketing to hit the streets until a certain date and time for that audience.